Mecca, circa 570 CE. In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula lies Mecca, a city destined to be the birthplace of the final prophet. Prophecies from times immemorial, even from the revered Jesus, foretold the coming of Muhammad, the last messenger.
A prophet will come, one who will be the last messenger, as foretold by Jesus himself. His arrival will be marked by miracles and a divine light.
A city steeped in tradition, where the ancient rites of idol worship hold sway amidst the shifting sands of time. Here, amidst the labyrinthine alleys and bustling marketplaces, idols carved from stone and wood hold court, their worshippers flocking to pay homage to gods of their own making. As his birth approached, the universe itself heralded the arrival of the prophet. Statues fell, ancient fires died, and the earth rejoiced. Mecca, a city of profound history and spiritual significance, was the chosen birthplace for Prophet Muhammad, the last prophet. On a blessed night, under the watchful eyes of the heavens, Amna gave birth to Muhammad. The moment he was born, a radiant light spread across the city, and miracles began to unfold.
You shall be called Muhammad. The world will know your name.
Raised by his loving grandfather and then his uncle Abu Talib, Muhammad's early life was marked by signs of his future greatness. Even as a child, the world knew he was special. Miracles followed him, a divine protection ever present.
Take Muhammad, the last messenger, from the east to the west. Show him the seas, so that all creation may know his name, his form, and his praise.
In the silence of this night, the world has begun to change. A message is coming, one that will echo through the ages. Even at the tender age of 10, his selflessness shone brightly amidst the shadows of a city gripped by lawlessness and idol worship. People turned to him, witnessing an extraordinary soul whose kindness spoke louder than the chaos around him. From a young age, Muhammad was known for his honesty and integrity.
Young Muhammad, we seek your help. We've heard of your
As a shepherd,
trustworthiness.
he earned the trust of his community, caring for their flocks with unwavering dedication.
We've lost a few of our sheep. We fear they have strayed into your flock. Would you mind if we checked?
Laying the foundation for a reputation that would later be known far and wide. His honesty was not just in words, but in actions. Accompanying his uncle on a trade journey to Syria, Muhammad's integrity continued to shine. It was here that an encounter would foreshadow his future. High on the monastery's stone ledge, an aged monk named Bahira observes the endless sky, his eyes keen with the wisdom of years. But today, his gaze lingers, captivated by something extraordinary. As he watches, a radiant glow moves through the heavens, illuminating the air with a gentle, otherworldly light. The monk's heart quickens, sensing this is no ordinary day. And then, as if guided by destiny itself, a caravan appears on the horizon, its figure small but steady against the vastness of the sand. Bahira leans forward, knowing deep within that he is witnessing the arrival of someone extraordinary, someone whom the heavens have heralded.
Greetings, travelers. Please join us for a meal.
Thank you, kind monk. We are grateful for your hospitality.
Young man, what is your name?
In the stillness, the young boy introduces himself with quiet dignity, declaring, "I am Muhammad, son of Abdullah." The monk, Bahira, studies the boy intently, his eyes keen and perceptive. He notices a small, distinctive mark on the boy's back, a sign ancient and mysterious. Turning to Muhammad's guardian, Abu Talib, Bahira's voice is low, yet filled with certainty. He speaks words weighted with reverence and
This young man carries a great destiny. Protect him, for he is under the care of the Most High.
Bahira's recognition of Muhammad as a future prophet was a sign that would resonate throughout history. In the tribal culture of Arabia, conflicts often arose. During the Fijar War, young Muhammad stood with his tribe, but his heart was drawn towards peace. Though he did not engage in violence, Muhammad's presence was a call for restraint and compassion.
Injustice must not go unchallenged. We vow to protect the oppressed and uphold justice.
Muhammad agreed to this cause, and agreed that peace and justice must prevail. This alliance, known as Hilf al-Fudul, would be remembered as a noble and just pact, aligning with Muhammad's growing sense of moral duty. From Adam, the father of humanity, to Jesus, the embodiment of love and compassion, these prophets walked through the depths of despair, illuminating the path to salvation. Muhammad found solace in knowing that even in darkness, hope could be born. Like Moses in the wilderness and Jesus on the mountain, Muhammad sought divine inspiration in the solitude of the desert. His heart yearned for answers to the questions that burned within him. Known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, he sought not only wisdom, but the strength to guide his people through the tumultuous path that lay ahead. His reputation as a merchant, unwavering in his principles, spread like wildfire. People found solace in knowing that his integrity could weather any storm. Khadijah, a successful businesswoman of wisdom and compassion, offered him a sanctuary where his soul could rest and his spirit could soar. Their union was a source of strength and inspiration. Little did he know that at the age of 40, Muhammad was about to receive a divine revelation, altering the course of his life and the future of his people.
Read, in the name of your Lord who created man from a clot. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man what he knew not.
Startled, Muhammad stammers, his heart pounding. I cannot read, he says. But Gabriel approaches, his overwhelming presence mingling with an unspoken comfort. He reaches out and embraces Muhammad, instilling within him a quiet strength. Then, releasing him, Gabriel speaks again, his words woven with divine purpose.
Read, in the name of your Lord who created.
On that night of power, the first verses of the Quran had been bestowed upon the unlettered prophet by the angel of God. It was an awakening call confirming his status as the final messenger in the long line of prophets like Abraham, Moses, and Jesus before him. Though shaken by this direct communion with the divine, he was strengthened with the knowledge that he had been chosen as the means to revive the pure monotheistic tradition and establish spiritual reformation. Muhammad knew his world was forever changed. He had received the mantle to uphold and spread the uncorrupted message of devotion to the one true God. A momentous duty he was prepared to shoulder despite the monumental odds. Khadijah asks, "What happened, Muhammad?" Muhammad narrated that an angel, Gabriel, he came to him. He commanded him to read, but he could not. He embraced him, and the words flowed through. It was a message from Allah. Khadijah replies, "Fear not, Muhammad, for he will guide you. Let's go to Uncle Varka for guidance."
This is the same messenger who came to Moses and Jesus. You have been chosen to deliver the final message to humanity. Do not fear, for Allah is with you.
The divine encounter had transformed Muhammad. With Khadija's unwavering support and Varka's guidance, he began to spread the message of Allah. In a land engulfed in darkness, his light shone brightly, calling for justice, compassion, and faith in the one true God. The call to Islam began quietly, with only a whisper in the darkness. For 3 years, Muhammad shared his message in secrecy, reaching out first to those closest to him. In these early days, the message spread to only a few trusted souls, those whose hearts were open to faith. As the numbers of believers grew, so did the need for secrecy. They gathered in hidden valleys, away from the eyes of the Meccan leaders, to pray and learn in peace. But whispers of Muhammad's message soon reached the leaders of Mecca. At first, they dismissed him as a philosopher, a thinker of peculiar ideas. However, as his following grew, so did their fear. And then came a command, a call to preach openly. Muhammad gathered his closest kin, urging them to turn to the one true God. Yet resistance came swiftly. Among his own kin, his uncle Abu Lahab was the first to oppose him, taunting his message and mocking his faith. As the resistance hardened, so did the persecution. The Quraysh harassed Muhammad, ridiculed his message, and subjected his followers to great suffering. Those with little protection bore the harshest trials. Bilal, a slave, was beaten for his faith, while Ammar's parents were martyred, becoming the first to die for Islam. And Muhammad rejecting offers of wealth and power in exchange for his silence. The Quraysh, now fearing that persuasion and torture had failed, convened to silence Muhammad by any means necessary. At the same time, Muhammad's personal loss was profound. His beloved uncle Abu Talib, his protector, and his wife Khadija, his unwavering support, passed away. In the quiet of the night, under the vast desert sky, a sign would appear, one that would be spoken of for generations.
If you are truly a prophet, show us a sign. Split the moon, and we will believe.
Muhammad prayed to Allah to show them a sign.
This is sorcery. It must be.
The moon was split asunder, a sign of divine power. Yet, faith is not solely built on signs, but on the heart's recognition of truth.
But when He, the Spirit of truth, comes, He will guide you into all the truth. He will not speak on His own. He will speak only what He hears, and He will tell you what is yet to come.
Despite years of preaching, Muhammad's message was violently rejected by most Meccans. The oppression and persecution were relentless. But on this night, an extraordinary miracle was about to reinvigorate the Prophet's resolve. In his dream, the Archangel Gabriel appeared, sent by the Almighty to deliver a divine message. Gabriel cleansed Muhammad's heart with the pure water of Zamzam, preparing him for the divine journey. Gabriel then instructed Muhammad to mount the celestial steed Al-Buraq. In the blink of an eye, they journeyed from Mecca to the noble sanctuary of Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. Upon arriving in Jerusalem, Muhammad was led by Gabriel to join and lead all previous prophets of God in prayer. Gabriel then took Muhammad up through the 7 heavens. At each level, he met with the great prophets of the past: Adam, Jesus, John, Joseph, Idris, Aaron, Moses, and Abraham. He was shown the beauty of paradise and the torments of hell, witnessing the fates of the righteous and the wicked. Finally, Muhammad was honored with the divine privilege of speaking directly to the Almighty. It was then that he received the command for the 5 daily prayers, a spiritual gift for his followers from the 50 earlier mandated per day. Having received divine affirmation to persist in his mission along with the gift of the 5 daily prayers, Muhammad returned to Mecca at dawn, his resolve strengthened. He shared the details of his miraculous journey with his closest companion, Abu Bakr, who believed him without hesitation. The 5 daily prayers became a source of strength for the fledgling Muslim community, uniting them in devotion and perseverance. With divine guidance and unwavering faith, Muhammad continued to spread the message of Islam, a movement that would indelibly alter the course of human civilization. After over a decade of incessant persecution, Prophet Muhammad instructed his followers to emigrate from their beloved city, of Mecca. The powerful Meccan tribes had turned increasingly violent towards those who accepted Islam's message of equality and monotheism. Most of the Muslims managed to escape Mecca quietly and make the arduous journey to the city of Yathrib, soon to be known as Medina. Muhammad remained behind with his friend Abu Bakr, making preparations to leave last after ensuring his community's safe exit. But the Meccan leaders soon discovered Muhammad's absence. Fearing the spread of his influence, they assembled assassination parties to pursue the Prophet and his companions, intending to kill them before they could reach safety.
Muhammad, leave Mecca with Abu Bakr. The Quraysh are coming to attack and kill you. You should move quickly out of the city.
Having learned of the pursuit, Muhammad and Abu Bakr quickly made their way, aided by a guide, taking an alternative desert route towards Medina to throw off the trackers. But the expert Quraysh trackers soon caught their trail. With no chance of outrunning them, the two sought refuge in a cave on Mount Thawr, just outside of Mecca. It seemed their pursuers would soon find them, but at that very moment, a spider miraculously spun its intricate web over the cave's entrance, and a dove nested nearby. Seeing this, the trackers judged the cave untouched and moved on.
Muhammad cannot be in that cave with that spider's web. Let's keep moving without wasting any time.
Muhammad and Abu Bakr had been delivered by the will of God, aided by a spider's web and a dove's nest preventing their discovery. After the danger passed, they proceeded on towards the safety of Medina. This pivotal migration marked a new phase for the marginalized Muslim community, who could now gather strength and establish the moral foundations of their new society in Medina under Muhammad's visionary guidance. After their arduous journey, the Muslims who had fled persecution in Mecca were able to finally set down roots in the city of Medina. Here, under Muhammad's guidance, they would forge the first true Muslim community. The Ansar Muslims of Medina opened their homes to the Muhajirun who had migrated from Mecca. Muhammad's wise leadership and teachings helped unite these two groups into an ideal society based on faith, justice, and ethnic equality. The unifying force of Islam's theology and moral teachings bound these former disconnected peoples into one ideological brotherhood, upholding noble values like racial equality, women's rights, and care for the underprivileged. A strong community was soon established through principles like cooperative economics and social solidarity. Muhammad had successfully transformed Medina into Islam's first moral and spiritual homeland. But threatened by this new rise of a Muslim state, the pagan Meccan leaders repeatedly mobilized armies to attack the Muslims with the aim of extinguishing Islam once and for all. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the Muslims miraculously defeated the Meccan forces at Badr before suffering a setback at Uhud. The siege of Medina was heroically thwarted when the Muslims innovatively dug a defensive trench. After years of hostilities, a 10-year peace treaty was finally negotiated at Hudaybiyah between Muhammad and the Meccans, allowing the Muslims to return and make pilgrimage to their holy city. In this period of peace, the sublime teachings of Islam rapidly spread across the Arabian Peninsula. More and more people were uplifted by its divine message of human equality, women's empowerment, and absolute devotion to one God. The moral vision and resilience of Muhammad and his early followers established the world's first Muslim society in Medina, one founded on progressive ethical teachings that soon inspired a diverse multitude across Arabia and beyond. After years of oppression, exile, and struggle, Prophet Muhammad was now returning to his birthplace of Mecca, not as a persecuted fugitive, but as a triumphal victor who had unified Arabia under the banner of Islam.
We must negotiate. We cannot withstand such a force.
The pagan leaders of Mecca, once Muhammad's tormentors, were now utterly humbled and had no choice but to surrender. But rather than taking revenge, Muhammad promised a full pardon to the city's inhabitants. He issued a declaration that Mecca would be opened through peace, faith, and patience, not violence and arrogance. On the 20th day of Ramadan, in the year 430 CE, Muhammad entered the city where he was once persecuted, not as a conquering tyrant, but as an exemplar of mercy and forbearance. Muhammad went directly to the Kaaba, the ancient shrine that had once housed 360 idols. With his own hands, he shattered each pagan idol, and he effaced every indecent painting and image. The Kaaba was finally purged of all its idolatrous relics. At last, the Kaaba was rededicated as a hallowed sanctuary, devoted exclusively to the worship of the one true God. The Prophet had returned to his beginnings, but this time establishing the pure monotheistic creed as the eternal message for all of Arabia and beyond. From its humble beginnings in the deserts of Arabia, Islam was now firmly established as a major monotheistic faith. The Kaaba, once a pagan shrine, was now rededicated solely to the worship of the one God. It was the 9th day of Dhul Hijjah, 638 CE. People from every tribe and nation were called to assemble in this blessed valley outside Mecca, for they were to receive the final guidance of the man who had indelibly reshaped their lives, the Prophet Muhammad.
O people, lend me an attentive ear, for I know not if I will ever meet you again in this place after this year. O people, just as you regard this month, this day, this city as sacred, so regard the life and property of every Muslim as a sacred trust. You are all from Adam, and Adam was from the dust. There is no superiority of an Arab over a non-Arab, or of a non-Arab over an Arab. The most noble among you in the sight of God is the most pious of you. All mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab over an Arab, except by piety and good action.
On that momentous day at Arafat, the Prophet's final sermon solidified the core Islamic ideals of human equality, women's rights, racial pluralism, and the spiritual reform that had transformed the harsh tribal milieu of Arabia. His words were eternally etched into the consciousness of the Muslim nation, about to usher in a new era of human awakening. What began as a lone man's preaching in the deserts of Arabia. Within a century of the Prophet's passing, Islam brought revolutionary changes to human society, establishing the worship of one God alone, abolishing idol worship, and declaring the spiritual equality of all people regardless of race, wealth, or social status. The message elevated women's position by giving them the right to education, inheritance, and divorce, rights unheard of at that time. Islam provided guidance for every aspect of life, from personal conduct and family relations to business ethics and governance. This complete way of life spread rapidly across the Arabian Peninsula and beyond, into Persia, across North Africa, through Anatolia, and even into parts of Europe like Spain. As Islam took root, it gave rise to a renowned golden age of knowledge and scientific progression, unlike anything the world had yet witnessed. Great centers of learning, libraries, and advances in fields like mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy flourished. Islamic societies were beacons of progressive values and ethnic pluralism, where scholars and merchants of diverse backgrounds intermingled in crowded cities, united by their shared belief in one God. In the modern era, Islam has continued its spread across the globe, its adherents now numbering over 1 billion people from virtually every nation and ethnic group on earth. From Arabs to Africans, Asians to Europeans, to indigenous peoples of the Americas, the message of submission to the one Creator has miraculously transcended all racial and cultural boundaries. United in belief and purpose, this spiritual call to conscience has bound together a multitude of races and peoples across the ages. What began as a lone man's preaching in the deserts of Arabia has blossomed into one of the world's most widely embraced faiths, a testament to the universal appeal of its message of equality, moral revival, and absolute devotion to the one true God. Though centuries have passed, the message of love, peace, and understanding continues to inspire hearts and minds across the world. May we embody the teachings of compassion and unity in our daily lives.